How did one smug sentence at a restaurant turn into me getting served papers in a public lobby the next week? Why did my husband smile like it was nothing, then leave, cut every card and make the bank treat me like a stranger? My name is Araminta Wells, but everyone calls me Mint. I was 34, and I worked as a procurement coordinator in a logistics company. My job was boring, but it made me feel important. I liked watching numbers move. I liked being the person who could say yes or no. At home, I wanted that same feeling. Ethan was my husband. He was 36 and worked in IT. He was careful, quiet, and steady. He also had this habit of asking questions like he was doing an audit. He asked about bills. He asked about dates. He asked about why, in a calm voice that made me feel like I was on trial. That night, we went to a steakhouse. It was supposed to be a nice date. I picked the place. I picked the time. I wore a dress that made me feel like I still had options. I told myself that a woman like me should not have to explain every little thing. At the table, Ethan looked tired. He asked how work was. I said it was fine. He asked if I was still stressed. I said stress was normal. He kept his eyes on me, like he was waiting for the real answer. When the waiter left, Ethan took out his phone and showed me our account screen. He did not shove it at me. He just held it there, like a fact. He asked why the balance was lower than last month. He asked why a transfer happened 2 days ago. He asked why our savings line looked thin. He spoke like he was trying not to fight. I felt heat climb up my neck. I could have said I made a mistake. I could have said I would fix it. But I hated the feeling of being managed. I hated the look people give when they think they are the adult in the room. I said he always acted like my boss. I said he treated me like a risk. He asked what I meant. I said he knew what I meant. He asked if we needed a budget talk. I said we did not need another talk. He asked if something was wrong. I said the only thing wrong was his attitude. Then he asked a simple question. He asked if I loved him. I looked at him and decided I would not bend. I told myself honesty was power. I told myself he needed a shock to stop acting like I owed him explanations. So I said the thing that always lived in my head, the thing I used as a shield. I told him I was only with him for the money. I said I stayed because he was stable. I said love did not pay rent. I watched his face. I expected anger. I expected a raised voice. I expected a threat. I expected him to plead. That was the normal pattern in my mind. I pushed. He reacted. I won. But Ethan did not do any of that. He blinked once. He looked down at his napkin, like he was checking if it was folded right. Then he looked up again. He asked if I truly believed that. I said yes. I added more because I was already in it. I said he was lucky I chose him. I said other men would have left me bored and broke. I said respect followed results, and he had results. I felt proud of myself. I felt like I had finally said it clean. In my head, I was the brave one. I told myself he deserved it for making me feel small with his questions. Ethan nodded slowly. He did not insult me. He did not call me names. He did not slam the table. He looked almost calm, and that calm felt like an insult. He asked if I wanted to finish dinner. I said of course, because I was not the one who started a problem. He said okay, and waved the waiter back. Dinner continued like a play. He asked if I wanted dessert. I said no. He asked if I needed a ride home. I said I was not a child. The waiter brought the check and Ethan paid without a comment. That part annoyed me. I wanted him to refuse just once, so I could say he was cruel. Instead, he thanked the waiter. He smiled, not a happy smile, but a clean one. Then he stood up. He asked if I was coming. I said I needed the restroom. I did not actually need it. I just wanted a moment to breathe and text Darla. In the restroom, I looked at myself in the mirror and practiced my victim face. I told myself Ethan would cool down in the car and apologize. I told myself he would remember he could not lose me. I texted Darla that I finally told Ethan the truth. Darla replied fast. She said I was bold. She said men needed reality. She said I should not let him control me. I liked that word. It made my cruelty sound like self-defense. When I walked back out, Ethan was not waiting by the bar. I saw him through the front glass, already outside. He did not look back. He held the door for an older couple and let it close behind them. Outside, the air was cold. Ethan stood near the car, hands in his pockets. He did not ask where I was. He did not complain. He just looked at his phone. I got closer and noticed a calendar alert on his screen. I only saw it for a second, but it said something like a place name and a time in the morning. He swiped it away. The alert felt like a wall. I told myself it was work. I told myself it was nothing. Still, I felt a small sting in my stomach. He unlocked the car. He did not open my door, which he usually did. I took that as proof he was punishing me. I got in and sat stiff, waiting for him to explode. Ethan started the car and pulled out smoothly. He did not speed. He did not swerve. He drove like the road was more important than my feelings. I asked him if he was going to sulk all night. He asked why I wanted a fight. I said he was the one acting weird. He said he was thinking. I told him he was dramatic. I told him he should be grateful I was honest. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted him to stop acting like I was stealing from him. He said he did not say that. We reached home. He parked carefully, straight in the driveway, like he had all the time in the world. He turned the engine off and sat for a moment. Then he looked at me. He asked if I meant what I said at dinner. I said yes again. I said he pushed me there. I said he made everything about money, so I gave him the answer he wanted. Ethan nodded once. Then he smiled. It was the same clean smile from the restaurant. It did not reach his eyes. He asked if I needed anything before he went inside. I asked where he was going. He said he was going to get some sleep. I said we were not done talking. He said he was done for tonight. I felt my control slip. I grabbed for something sharp. I asked if he was going to cut me off. He did not answer that. He opened his door and stepped out. I watched him walk toward the front door with slow steps. He did not slam anything. He did not throw a fit. He just moved like a person who already decided. When I finally looked down at my phone, I saw a bank app notification. It was short. It said my card settings had been updated. My thumb hovered over the screen, and my chest tightened like I had swallowed a stone. In the morning, I woke up with my phone in my hand. I had fallen asleep scrolling the bank app, like it was a joke I did not understand. The notification was still there. It said my card settings had been updated. It did not say why. It did not say who. I walked into the kitchen and opened my wallet, like I could force it back to normal. The cards looked the same. The numbers were still there. I told myself it was a temporary glitch. Ethan worked in systems. He could fix systems. That was his job. Ethan was already up. He stood by the counter with a mug. Another mug sat on the other side, untouched. We used to share the same mug sometimes, like it was cute. Now the space between the mugs looked like a line on a map. He asked if I slept. I said I slept fine. He asked if I wanted coffee. I said I could make my own. He nodded like he expected that answer. I asked what he did to my cards. He asked what I meant. I said I got a bank alert. He said he made changes. I asked if he enjoyed scaring me. He said he enjoyed clarity. I told him he was punishing me. He asked if I remembered what I said at dinner. I said I was honest, and honesty should not have consequences. He said honesty always had consequences. That sentence made me mad, because it sounded like a lesson. I hated lessons from him. I told myself he was trying to act superior. I told myself he was turning into the villain, and I just needed to make others see it. I asked if he could turn it back on. He said he would pay the household bills directly. He said he would cover food and school needs. He said I would not use shared credit for a while. He spoke like he was reading a list inside his head. I asked who told him he could do that. He said the bank allowed account holders to set limits. He said he did it to protect the family. I said I was the family too. He said he knew. Then he looked at his phone and tapped the screen. It made a soft beep. I saw a quick flash of a recording app icon, or maybe I imagined it. I told myself he was doing it to trap me. I told myself he was paranoid, and paranoid people should not be trusted. He asked if I could keep our talk calm. I said I was calm. My voice was not calm. After he left for work, I called my mom. I told her Ethan cut me off. I told her he was trying to control me with money. She asked what I did to make him react. I said he reacted for no reason. I said he was always like this. I left out the part where I said I was only with him for the money. I did not want my mum to focus on my words. I wanted her to focus on his response. My mum said some men were small inside. She said I should stand my ground. She said a husband had a duty. I liked how she said duty. It made me sound like I deserved something. Then my dad texted me. He asked what was going on. I told him Ethan was being cruel. He replied that I should be careful with big claims. He said money fights did not start from nothing. I did not answer him. At noon I went to the supermarket. I chose a busy time on purpose. I wanted to prove to myself that Ethan could not really do it. I filled the cart with normal things and a few extra things, like I was still in charge. I stood in line and watched people ahead of me, and I felt steady again. At the checkout, I smiled like I was fine. The total came up. I tapped my card. The screen flashed. The cashier tried again. The screen flashed again. The cashier said it did not go through. I said it must be the reader. She said it was not the reader. The man behind me sighed. A woman looked at my cart and then at my face. I felt my cheeks burn. I tried another card. It declined too. I tried my phone wallet. It declined. The cashier asked if I wanted to step aside. I said I needed a moment. I stood there with my cart like I was holding evidence against myself. I could hear my own breathing. I told myself Ethan did this to humiliate me. I told myself he chose a public place on purpose, even though he was not even there. I called Ethan. He did not pick up. I called again. It went to voicemail. I left a message that sounded like a warning. I said he needed to stop playing games. I said he was making a scene. I said he was embarrassing the children, even though the children were not with me. I paid with a small emergency cash note from my pocket, but it was not enough. I had to leave half the cart behind. As I walked out, I felt people looking at me. Maybe they were not. It did not matter. It felt real. On the drive home, I called Darla and told her what happened. She asked if I was safe. I said yes, but I also said Ethan was becoming abusive. She said I should tell people before he controlled the story. She said I should make a post. I said I did not want drama. That was a lie. I wanted drama, but I wanted it on my terms. When I got home, the house was too quiet. I walked into Ethan's office. The door was not locked, but the drawers looked too neat, like he had lined them up. A labeled folder sat on the desk. It said, Utilities. Another said, Bank. It bothered me that he used calm labels. Calm labels made him look reasonable. I opened the printer tray and saw a blank page sitting there like it had just been pushed out. It was clean, with no ink. I told myself he was printing threats. I told myself the blank page was only because I arrived too soon. From the hallway I heard a clicking sound, like a drawer locking. Ethan was not home. That sound should not have happened. I stood still and listened. Then it stopped. I told myself the house made noises. I told myself I was not scared. My phone buzzed. It was a missed call from no caller ID. I stared at it. I did not know if it was a spam call or something else. The timing made my stomach turn. I texted Ethan and asked who was calling the house. He did not reply. I texted again and said he was being childish. No reply. That night, Ethan came home and went straight to the kitchen. He washed his hands and started making food for the kids like it was a normal day. He did not look at me much. He asked if Lila did homework. I said yes. He asked if Noah ate a snack. I said yes. He did not ask about the supermarket. That made me feel unseen and blamed at the same time. After the kids went to bed, I followed Ethan toward the hallway. He stopped at the guest room door. He opened it and stepped inside. I asked if he was really sleeping there. He said yes for now. I asked if he wanted a divorce. He said he wanted peace. I asked if that meant he was leaving me. He said he was staying close for the children. I said he was acting like I was dangerous. He said he was acting like the situation was dangerous. I told him he was cold. He asked if I wanted to talk respectfully. I said respect was earned. He said he agreed. Then I heard it again, a low hum. It came from his office, not the bedroom. It sounded like a shredder running for a few seconds and stopping. Ethan did not react. He just shut the guest room door gently. I stood in the hallway with my phone in my hand, staring at my dead bank app like it was a door that would not open. I told myself I was still the good one. I told myself Ethan was the one breaking the family. But in the dark, with the house quiet and the hum fading away, my story started to feel thin. The next day, I acted like the supermarket scene was his fault, not mine. I told myself it was a test. I told myself Ethan wanted me to beg, and I would not beg. I cleaned the kitchen hard, like scrubbing could bring my power back. I lined up the kids' lunch boxes like it was proof I was still the stable one. Ethan moved around me like I was furniture. He made breakfast for Noah. He checked Lila's backpack. He did not ask about my wallet, my face, or my mood. That silence was worse than an argument. An argument meant he still needed me. Silence meant he could live without me. When he left, I watched from the window. His car was pointed toward the street, ready like he was leaving for more than work. I told myself I was being dramatic. Still, I kept watching until the taillights were gone. By afternoon, I needed an audience. I texted Darla and asked if she wanted to go out that night. She replied fast and said yes. She said we should go somewhere with a view and good photos. She said I should not look defeated. I agreed. Before I left, I opened my phone and scrolled my messages. Colin's chat sat there like a small secret door. His name was saved as a single emoji, just a little flame. It made me feel clever, like I was managing risk. I wrote that I had a rough week. He replied that I could forget it all with him. I told myself it was not cheating if my husband already cut me off. That is how my mind worked. I turned my own actions into a response. At the rooftop bar, the air was cold and the music was loud enough to shake thoughts loose. Darla hugged me hard and asked how I was holding up. I said I was fine. She asked if Ethan fixed the cards yet. I said he was doing it to control me. She said that proved he was insecure. A couple of her friends were there too. They knew my face from pictures. They knew Ethan only as a background husband who paid for trips. One of them asked if Ethan finally showed his true colors. I said he did. I said he cut me off like I was some stranger. I said he wanted to punish me for being honest. Darla asked what I told him. I laughed like it was no big deal. I said I told him the truth, that I was with him for the lifestyle. I made it sound like a joke people tell in movies. The group reacted the way I wanted. They gasped, then laughed, then leaned in closer. Someone asked how Ethan reacted. I said he stared at me like a robot and then played victim. I said he wanted me to feel guilty for wanting comfort. I used clean words, but the goal was dirty. I was building a villain. One friend said I should post something, just to protect myself. I said I did not want drama. Then I opened my phone anyway. I typed a story that sounded sad and brave at the same time. I wrote about starting over and choosing peace. I did not name Ethan. I let the silence do the naming. Darla told me to add a photo. I took one with the city lights behind me. I smiled like I was free. My eyes looked sharp, like a person who had already won. I posted it and watched the first likes come in. Each like felt like a small vote. I checked my phone again and saw Colin had viewed the story. He sent a short message that said I looked good. He asked where I was. I told him I was out with friends. He asked if I wanted him to join. I said no, not tonight. I wanted to keep him separate, like a private reward. In the middle of the night, when I finally got home, Ethan was awake in the guest room. I knew because I saw the light under the door. I stood outside for a moment, holding my breath, like I was listening to an enemy. I wanted to knock and force a talk. I wanted him to see my social proof and panic. But I did not knock. I walked to my bedroom and shut the door. I told myself I was the one choosing distance. I told myself I was in control. In the morning, my phone buzzed with replies to my story. People asked if I was okay. People sent heart emojis. My mother commented with a vague line about strong women. Darla reposted it and added her own line about men who fear confident wives. I liked that. Confident sounded better than cruel. At work, I walked into the open plan office with my chin up. I wore a bright blouse like a flag. Maya glanced at me and then looked away, like she did not want to be pulled in. I sat down and opened my email. My computer still had a spreadsheet open from yesterday. There were no names on it, just columns and numbers. It felt familiar. I liked numbers because they did not argue. Around 10, Colin showed up for a vendor check-in. He leaned on the edge of my desk like he belonged there. He asked how I was. I said my husband was acting crazy. He asked what that meant. I said Ethan was punishing me with money. Colin made a face like sympathy, but his eyes looked excited. That look always pushed me forward. Maya walked past and saw him too close. Later, she came to my desk and asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes. She asked why I looked stressed. I said Ethan was being difficult. She said sometimes difficult meant hurt. I said hurt people, like I was quoting something wise. I did not say I was the first hurt in this chain. At lunch, I tried calling Ethan again. He did not answer. I sent a message that said we needed to talk like adults. He replied one line later. He said he would only talk about the children and the house schedule. He said he would not argue over text. That made me angry, so I forwarded the message to Darla. I wrote that he was stonewalling me. Darla replied that stonewalling was emotional abuse. I stared at the words and felt relieved. Labels make pain simple. If it had a label, it was his fault. After lunch, my manager walked by and paused at my desk. He asked if I could step into the small meeting room for a quick word. He smiled like it was routine, but his eyes were careful. Inside the room, HR was there too. A woman I barely knew sat with a notepad. She asked how I was doing. I said I was fine. She asked if there was anything affecting my focus. I said no. Then she said someone reported personal conflict spilling into vendor meetings. She said a vendor seemed too familiar at my desk. She asked if I felt safe. She asked if there was any issue at home that could come to the office. I felt my face tighten. Safe. Office. Home. The words sounded like a trap. I decided to turn it into another story where I was the victim. I said my husband was trying to control me financially. I said I was under stress. I said I might need flexibility. HR asked if I had any documentation. I said I did not need documentation to explain my life. She nodded slowly, like she did not like that answer. When I left the room, my phone lit up with a notification from a shared family tablet account. It was just a small banner that said, "File uploaded successfully." There was no file name. There was no picture. Still, it hit me like a cold hand on my neck. I sat back down at my desk and stared at my screen, pretending to work. I told myself Ethan was being dramatic. I told myself he was just organizing bills. I still think that was the kind story. But my chest did not believe me. My chest felt like it knew something was moving without my permission. The next day was a school day, and school days made me feel safe. The kids needed routines. Routines made adults look stable. I drove to the pickup line early and parked in the same spot as always. I watched other parents sip coffee and talk about small things. I wanted small things too. I wanted my life to feel normal again. Ethan arrived a few minutes later in his car. He did not park next to me. He stopped a few spaces away, like we were strangers who shared a schedule. Lila came out first with her backpack bouncing. Noah followed with his little coat half unzipped. Ethan waved at them and they ran to him before they ran to me. That should have hurt less than it did. I told myself it was because Ethan was fun and I was rules. I told myself children always chose the soft parent in public. I told myself it did not mean anything. In the car, Leela asked why Dad slept in the other room. She asked if he was sick. I said he was not sick. She asked if he was mad at me. I said adults sometimes needed space. She asked if we were still a family. I said yes, like a fast answer could be a real answer. Noah asked if we could have pancakes for dinner. I said, maybe. He asked where Dad would eat. I said Dad ate where he wanted. My voice sounded sharp. Noah got quiet. When we got home, Ethan was already there with the kids' school papers laid out on the table. He was holding a pen like he was doing homework too. A small sticky note sat near his elbow. I saw it only for a second. It said, "Bring forms." There was no name. There was no logo. Just words. Ethan asked if Lila had reading practice. I said yes. He asked if Noah needed a nap. I said no. He did not ask me how I was. He did not ask about my card. He did not ask about the bar or HR. He acted like I was a roommate who helped with children. I tried to force warmth. I asked if he wanted to talk tonight. He said he would talk about schedules. I asked if he wanted to talk about us. He said us was not a safe topic right now. I asked what that meant. He said it meant he would not argue. I told myself he was avoiding accountability. I told myself he was refusing to fight for us. That was the story I needed. If he was refusing, then I was not the one leaving. After dinner, I called my sister Jill. I asked if I could come over. She asked why. I said I needed support. She said support was not the same as permission. I told her I was coming anyway. At Jill's condo, she did not offer me wine. She offered me water. That alone made me feel judged. She sat across from me on the couch and waited for me to speak like a therapist. I told her Ethan cut my cards and embarrassed me. I told her he was turning people against me. I told her he was cold, like a wall. Jill listened with her arms crossed. Then she asked what I said to him first. I said it did not matter. She asked again. I said I told him the truth. She asked what truth. I said I told him I was with him for the money. I tried to laugh like it was brave. Jill did not laugh. She said I was cruel. I said I was honest. She said honesty without care was just a weapon. I said she always took his side. She said she took the children's side. I told her Ethan pushed me. I said he asked too many questions. I said he acted like I was a thief. Jill asked if I moved money without telling him. I said it was our money. Jill said "our" meant both people knew. I felt my face heat up. I said she did not understand marriage. She said she understood consequences. She asked if there was someone else. My stomach jumped. I said no too fast. Jill noticed. She asked again, slower this time. I said Ethan was being paranoid and making me look guilty. Jill said I was acting guilty all by myself. I stood up and paced. I said Ethan was punishing me. Jill said Ethan was protecting himself. I said he was trying to control me. Jill said he was trying to stop chaos. I hated that word in her mouth. Chaos sounded like me. Before I left, Jill told me to stop posting vague things online. She said I was building a story that could hurt the kids later. I said she was dramatic. Jill said I was careless. On the way out, she asked me to promise I would not bring a new friend around the kids. I asked what she meant. She said she meant what she said. I did not answer. I drove to the gym because the gym was where I went when I wanted to feel innocent. Sweat felt like proof I was trying. I walked past the machines and into the cafe area. Colin was there, like he had planned it. He stood up when he saw me and smiled like I was a prize. He asked if I was okay. I said Ethan was being awful. Colin asked what happened now. I said Ethan cut my cards and acted calm like a robot. Colin said Ethan sounded petty. I liked hearing that. Petty made Ethan small. Colin asked if I wanted to come sit closer. I said yes. He asked if Ethan knew about us. I said there was no us. I said Colin was just someone who listened. Colin looked disappointed for half a second, then he smiled again. He asked if I wanted him to help. I asked how. He said he could give me cash for groceries if I needed. I said no, because I did not want to owe him. I also did not want to admit I needed help. I wanted to be the person who had options, not the person who needed saving. Colin asked if I could meet him later in the week. I said maybe. He asked if I missed him. I said I missed being seen. He said he saw me. That line hit me in the chest, in a way I did not want to name. Back at home that night, I tried to act normal. I helped Lila with her reading. I bathed Noah. I laid out clothes for tomorrow. I told myself I was the steady parent. I told myself Ethan was the one breaking the home by sleeping in another room. After the kids were asleep, I walked into Ethan's office again. The room smelled faintly like toner. On the desk, the taxes folder sat near a small stack of papers. I did not open anything. I just stood there, staring, like my eyes could read through cardboard. I noticed the edge of a USB drive tucked under the folder, barely visible. A small label had a date written on it. My fingers moved without permission. I touched it. From the hallway, I heard Ethan's steps. I pulled my hand back fast, like I had been burned. He stood at the door and looked at me without anger. He asked what I was doing. I said I was looking for a stapler. He said the stapler was in the kitchen drawer. I said I forgot. He did not argue. He walked in, picked up the taxes folder, and placed it into a drawer. Then I heard the drawer click shut, crisp and final. I asked what he was hiding. He said he was organizing. I asked why he needed to lock it. He said he needed peace. I said peace was not a reason. He said it was a reason for him. I walked out of the room feeling smaller than I wanted to admit. In the living room, my phone lit up with a message from my mum. She said I should not let Ethan win. I stared at that word, win, and felt my chest tighten. In the kids' hallway, I heard Noah whispering in his sleep. He mumbled something that sounded like Ethan's voice. He said, "Right way." I stood there in the dim light and told myself I was still right, but my own home felt like it was moving away from me, one quiet click at a time. I woke up with a plan. I told myself I would get Ethan to react, even a little, because a reaction would give me proof. Proof mattered more than truth. If he raised his voice, I could tell everyone he was unstable. If he begged, I could call him manipulative. Either way, I could win. The kitchen felt split in half. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides of the counter again. Ethan made oatmeal for Noah and cut fruit for Lila with careful hands. He moved like a person who had already chosen a new life inside the old one. He asked if I could do school drop-off. I said yes, like I was helpful. He asked if I could keep the afternoon clear for a family dinner at his parents' house. I said we could go, but I added that his mother always judged me. He said his mother cared about the children. I said I cared too. He nodded like he was counting words. After the kids left for school, I followed Ethan into the hallway. I told him we needed to talk like adults. He asked what topic I wanted. I said the money topic, because it was the only topic that made him look bad. He said he already explained the money boundaries. I said boundaries were just another word for control. He said control was not what he wanted. I asked if he liked watching me struggle. He said he did not like watching anything, and he wanted quiet. I said he was acting like a saint. He asked if I could speak without insults. I said I was not insulting him, I was describing him. He exhaled and looked at the floor for a moment. A soft beep came from his phone. I saw an alarm banner flash for a second. It said, "Paper drop 8:15 a.m." He swiped it away fast, like it was nothing. I told myself it was work. I told myself he had forms for taxes. Still, my mind kept circling it like a dog circling a bone. I decided we needed a family walk because family walks looked good. At the riverside promenade that afternoon, the air smelled like cold water and wet stone. Lila walked ahead, kicking tiny rocks. Noah held Ethan's hand and kept looking back at me, like he was checking if I would disappear. I tried to make the scene sweet. I asked Ethan if we could start over. He asked what start over meant. I said it meant he stopped punishing me and we went back to normal. He said normal was not safe. I asked why he kept using the word safe. He said because the children were watching. I told him he was making the kids anxious by sleeping in the guest room. He said the kids were anxious because adults were not honest. I told him I was honest. He asked if I was honest about everything. I felt the question land too close, so I turned it. I said he was jealous because I had friends and he did not. He said he was not jealous. I said he was insecure. He said insecurity was not the issue. I said he was trying to make me look like the bad one. He said he was not making me look like anything. Lila stopped and asked if we could get hot chocolate. Ethan said yes. I said we did not need treats. Lila's face dropped. Ethan bought the hot chocolate anyway and handed it to her with both hands like it was important. That small moment made me angry. It made him look kind. I needed him to look harsh. So I pushed again. I asked if he told his parents lies about me. He said he told them he was focusing on the children. I said that was a lie. He said it was the truth. I said he was playing victim. He asked why I needed him to be a villain. Noah tugged Ethan's sleeve and asked why Mum was mad. Ethan said Mum and Dad were figuring things out. Noah asked if Dad would leave. Ethan said Dad would not disappear. I stared at Ethan when he said that. The word disappear felt like a warning and a promise at the same time. On the walk back, Ethan's phone buzzed. He did not answer it. The screen showed no caller ID for a second, then went dark. I watched his face, but it stayed flat. I told myself he was hiding something. I told myself he was building a secret plan to hurt me. I did not ask, because asking would admit fear. That evening, we went to his parents' house for dinner. The dining room smelled like roasted chicken and clean soap. Ruth had set the table neatly, like she was hosting a meeting. Gordon smiled at the kids and asked about school. He did not look at me much. Ruth asked if Lila was still doing swimming lessons. I said yes. Ruth asked if Noah's preschool payment was up to date. I said, of course. Ruth nodded slowly and said she loved routines. Her tone was polite, but it felt like a judgment. I tried to reclaim the room. I told a story about the supermarket incident. I said my card declined, and I was humiliated. I said Ethan did it to punish me. I said he was trying to scare me. Ruth asked what Ethan said when I told him. I said Ethan did not care. I said he enjoyed it. Ethan looked at Ruth and then at Gordon. He did not look at me. Ruth asked Ethan if that was true. Ethan said he did not enjoy humiliating anyone. He said he limited spending because the accounts needed stability. He said he would pay for the children's needs directly. He spoke plainly, with no anger. I felt my face tighten. I wanted Ruth to yell at him. I wanted Gordon to say he was wrong. But Ruth nodded like Ethan's words made sense. Gordon asked Ethan if he needed support with the kids' schedule. Ethan said he had a plan. I jumped in fast. I said Ethan was making me look irresponsible. I said I worked too. I said I deserved respect. Ruth asked what respect looked like to me. I said respect looked like trust. Ruth asked if I had acted in a trustworthy way. The question hit hard because it was calm. Calm questions are harder to fight. I laughed and said she was old-fashioned. I said women always got blamed. I said Ethan was sensitive because he could not handle honesty. Jill had warned me not to make it public, but I wanted witnesses. I wanted a courtroom without a court. I wanted a decision without rules. Ethan finally spoke to me directly at the table. He asked if I could stop speaking about private things in front of the kids. I said the kids were fine. Leela looked down at her plate. Noah pushed peas into a little pile and did not eat. Ruth asked me to lower my voice. I said I was not loud. Gordon asked if we could focus on the children. I said everyone always used the children to silence women. Ruth's face stayed still, but her eyes changed. She said the children were not a tool, they were people. After dinner, while the kids played in the living room, I followed Ethan into the hallway near the coat closet. I asked him if he was happy that his parents took his side. He asked why everything had to be sides. I said because I was tired of being treated like a guest in my own marriage. He looked at me for a long moment. I waited for the speech, the insult, the threat. I waited for him to do something I could clip into a story. He did not. He asked if I was done performing. I said I was not performing. He said I had been performing since the restaurant. I said he started it by questioning me. He said he started it by asking for honesty. I told him he was cold and calculated. He said he was tired. I said he was trying to ruin me. He said he was trying to protect the children and himself. I asked what that meant. He paused, then said he would handle everything properly. I thought Ethan's properly line was a bluff. I told myself he wanted to scare me so I would behave. I told myself he could not really do anything without talking to me first, because we were married, and I still lived in the house. The next morning, I dressed like I was going to win. I wore a clean coat and nice boots, like I had money that could not be touched. I drove to the office tower downtown, where Ethan's company sometimes held meetings. He had texted that we needed to confirm logistics. He did not say what logistics. I assumed it was about the kids' pickups, and I assumed I could push him back into a normal fight. The lobby was bright and cold. People walked fast with coffee cups and badges. I saw Ethan near a column, standing straight with his hands relaxed. He looked calm in a way that made me feel messy. He did not step toward me like a husband. He stood like a person waiting for a bus. I walked up and asked why he dragged me here. He said he wanted the exchange to be clear and public. I asked if he enjoyed humiliating me. He said he wanted no confusion later. I tried to pull eyes toward us. I spoke louder than I needed to. I said he was cutting me off and trying to control me. Ethan did not raise his voice. He asked me to lower mine. I said I was not loud. A woman near the entrance glanced over and then looked away. Ethan asked if I brought my house key and the garage clicker. I asked why I would bring those. He said I would understand in a moment. I felt my stomach drop, but I kept my face hard. A man in a plain jacket walked toward us with a folder. He did not look like security. He did not look angry. He looked like someone doing a task before lunch. He asked if I was Araminta Wells. I said yes, and I added that this was private. He said he had documents for me. I looked at Ethan and asked what he was doing. He said he was handling it properly. He did not smile this time. His face was still, like a door that had closed. The man held the folder out. I did not want to take it. I said I would not accept anything. He said acceptance was not required, and he placed it in my hands anyway. The paper felt heavier than paper should feel. I opened the folder right there because I needed to control the moment. My eyes landed on words I did not want to read. It said, "Petition for dissolution of marriage." It said our names. It said dates. It said, "Temporary orders requested." I laughed because laughing was the only way to keep from shaking. I told Ethan he was being dramatic. I told him he was doing this to punish me. He said he was doing it to stop chaos. I said I was not chaos. He said the situation was. I flipped pages fast and saw a section about finances. It said the accounts were protected. It said joint credit was frozen for my use. It said bills would be paid directly. It said I could not move funds or add debt in both our names. It was written like I was a risk, like I was a storm. I saw the parenting section and my throat tightened. It listed a temporary schedule starting immediately. It said where the children would sleep on school nights. It said pickup times. It said communication would be limited to a parenting app. It said exchanges would happen in public places. I told Ethan he could not do that without asking me. He said he was not asking me. He said the court would decide the long-term plan, and this was the temporary plan for stability. I said he was turning the kids against me. He said he was protecting the kids from conflict. I said he was trying to make me look bad. He said he did not need to make me look like anything. My phone buzzed while I was still holding the papers. I looked down and saw a bank notification. It said my access to the joint account was limited. It said the change was effective immediately. I tapped the app, and it asked me to verify information I did not have. I looked up at Ethan and asked if he planned this like a trap. He said he planned it like an adult. I said I needed money for groceries. He said groceries for the kids would be covered, and he would send a weekly amount to an account in my name once the temporary order processed, but I would not have the old access. I told him he was cruel. He said cruelty was chaos, and he was choosing structure. The man in the plain jacket asked me to sign a line that said, "I received the papers." I said I would not sign. He said that was fine, and he noted it on his form. Ethan asked for the house key again. I asked if he expected me to sleep on the street. He said there was a temporary possession line, and I could read it. My eyes dropped to the paragraph, and the words were clear enough to hurt. It said, "Temporary orders effective immediately."